So Dave, yeah, that combination, man, it was amazing. It was something. I like when they put the music on it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
It was fresh. It was a very iconic moment, and we watched that when the actual video came out. And we got a copy of the video. We watched it a bunch of times.
Yeah.
There was obviously stuff that was cut out, but there was a lot of stuff.
I had the raw version. I had the from the balcony
overlooking.
version. But I'm actually there.
Yeah, yeah. It's dope. Your scene from it coming from up from the actual bottom, or from coming up top going down bottom, it's dope because you hear the crowd reaction.
Oh yeah.
It's so dope, and you can hear everybody screaming.
Yeah.
When I did the icy ice, it was dope.
Yeah, that was epic though. So with that being said, do you feel like when you did that set, did that kind of put you on the map, like with the b-boys? Did you get a lot of props for that? Like after the battle was over, and everybody's like, "Yo, what's your name?"
You got to remember, a lot of people were coming up to me and tripping out, but a lot of the stuff was there wasn't a lot of social media at that time.
There was
so everybody knew me by
the B-Boy Summit tape.
B-Boy Summit and whatever jams that we would go out. So whenever that video got outsourced and everybody started buying it, they seen it and they would ask who that was, and they knew it was me. So when I would go to events, they knew right away who I was.
Yeah.
From that.
Yeah.
Because whoever got it knew who I was then. But a lot of the people I already knew from dancing, from going, because we went everywhere to go break.
I know.
It didn't matter where it was. We would go to raves in Oakland. We would go to
parties.
Yeah, we would go anywhere and battle. We didn't care or break. We just wanted to dance, and it was something that I enjoyed doing, and didn't matter where it was at. It was just fun. I loved it. Yeah, it was very enjoyable.
Okay, I'm gonna throw a twist on it because this is something that I've used like in other interviews. I want to ask you, 19-year-old Dave, if you can go back and give advice or change or talk to 19-year-old Dave the knowledge that you have, like what would you say to yourself back then?
I would have told myself to take advantage of more of the opportunities that I had, because I had a lot of opportunities and I turned them down.
Yeah.
And the thing is a little bit different than everybody else. I had already a family that I was, I was involved with, so I had to work. I had to do other stuff. Yeah. I couldn't commit to a lot of the stuff if I wasn't going to get paid. So it kind of shut down my dancing career sooner than it should have been because of I had to.
I noticed. Yeah, I didn't really see you like.
I was doing a lot of stuff in Arizona.
Okay.
And there's actually.
I got footage of that. You battled with Tino. Tino had the green. He had the green windbreakers. It was you and him, like a 2-on-2.
So there's a guy out there. He knows who he is. His name's Robert Fuji, who was from Arizona. He has hundreds and hundreds of hours of me dancing, but he hasn't swapped it to whatever needs to be swapped to allow it to be on YouTube. Yeah. And he just has cases on cases of it in his storage. And he tells me all the time. And I said, tell him, you need to release it. Because he has actual dancing of me in Arizona. Like, the little clips that you guys see, he has actual practices and actual jams that nobody's seen. Like, kind of like what Donnie did when he threw out that K-Mel battle with Ariston and Donnie. When K-Mel and his boy came out and they battled, when you finally got to see that, I have tons of that footage where we were battling people or we were, just breaking. He has all that footage.
Did you ever battle anybody from Arizona Floor Assassins?
No. I was part of Arizona Floor, or not part of them, but I was one of the people that danced with them. So I battled with them against Little Caesar and his crew. And Spidey came out with him to represent with Air Force. So they came to a car show. It was actually a Lighter Shade of Brown concert that we danced for and we performed, and they flew out, Little Caesar and them, Air Force crew. So he came out with his boys and Mr. Ree and everybody, Mr. Animation and Spidey and Caesar. And we battled them, and I battled with them, Arizona Floor Assassins, against Air Force crew. In Arizona. Myself and Boogie T.
So who was in Arizona Floor Assassins?
So the main guy was Miquito, which is the main guy. Roland, which was his brother. There was J-Rock and Word, which was Edward. Those were two brothers. There was Bird. There was Hype Rock. There was
I remember Hype Rock. Was a Latino dude?
Yeah. Peck Nice. Bird was very advanced, and he learned really quickly. Same with Hype Rock. They were very. They learned quickly.
Yeah.
So when they would practice with me and stuff like that, they caught on fast, and they got advanced very quick, but they got into trouble. So it ruined their dancing careers. Hype Rock. There was who was the other guy that was with them? There was a couple other guys that were part of their crew. I think it was wasn't Herman. Herman is from over here. Humberto, I think his name was, but he was a dancer over there. He's a marketer now. That was dope as well, part of their crew. Then they had a couple other guys that were just like part of their group, but they were like artists and MCs and stuff like that. Because they were the Mickey, the leader of their group, his dad was a pastor.
Oh, okay.
So we got the honor of using his church to use the floor to dance all the time.
Oh, okay.
So when you see me dancing in videos and you see people around, that's at the church.
Yeah.
I was dancing there and practicing with everybody, hanging out and chilling. We did that thousands of times. So you can imagine, you only seen that little video. There's hundreds and hundreds of hours of that.
Right.
That Robert Fuji has. And then there was Chino Valley, which was Robert, who's now part of Furious Styles.
Yeah.
Because there's no more Arizona Floor Assassins.
Yeah.
There's no more dancers from that. They had a couple dancers that were younger that started to break dance, but then they went their own way and stuff like that. So I knew like the Maya boys. I knew their dad. I knew Thesis from over there.
The Maya boys, the dad used to break?
Yeah.
What was his b-boy name?
I forget their dad's name. He was a breaker. I think he was a graffiti artist as well, because there was a lot of graffiti artists out there.
Was he in the crew?
No, he wasn't. I think he was just a dancer. There was people who just dance, because there was like 3 really big crews that were the crews of the crews. There was Arizona Floor Assassins, Motor City, which was actually Arizona Floor Assassins' cousins.
Okay.
That had their own crew in Motor City, and then there was Furious Styles.
Styles crew.
Yeah, Furious Styles crew. So those were the 3 crews, and actually Arizona Floor Assassins and Furious Styles hated each other. They hated each other with a passion. So I would battle with Arizona Floor Assassins against them. And a couple times they'd bring out Ivan. But every time they would bring out Ivan, he wouldn't battle with them when we would battle them. We'd end up going to clubs together and dancing together at clubs.
So what was the rivalry between Furious and Arizona Floor Assassins, as far as you know?
As far as I know, Furious Styles comes from the East Coast, came over here, and moved to Arizona. Like House and all.
He's not from AZ?
No, he's not originally from there. From the East Coast. So they came out there and their crew and started their thing with the Ricon brothers and stuff like that. And Arizona Floor Assassins didn't like that. Because you know how that back in the days was always East Coast, West Coast beefing going on. And you got to remember, Arizona was a little bit slower in the whole hip hop scene compared to the West Coast and the East Coast. So they actually were out there at B-Boy Summit, and that was the first time they seen me.
Yeah.
That's how they knew who I was.
Yeah.
And wanted to bring me out there. That they got my number and coordinated with me to fly me out there and do some events and stuff like that. And I brought Tino with me.
Okay.
Because Ariston and Donnie were doing their thing, doing events and stuff in LA.
Yeah.
And so I brought Tino with me to go do events out there.
So crazy.
Yeah, and that's how we built a relationship with the Floor Assassins, and we're always around them because Mick brought me out there to do a car show event, and that's how I met my ex-wife, because that's actually her family is the Floor Assassins. Yeah, so that's how that became what it became.
Dude, that's so crazy. Yeah. Dave, do you remember our first introduction? And if you do remember, what comes to mind like the first time that you came across me? Because I remember my first introduction meeting you. It was in Merced.
Yeah.
It was at the fairgrounds. And I remember I had a black Adidas shirt with some black Dickies. And I had a fisherman hat because I was trying to copy Easy Rock.
Yeah.
And I had a Zulu Nation sweater.
I remember you told me you loved Easy Rock.
Right.
Yeah.
I was fascinated by Easy Rock.
Yeah.
And I remember you came in, you had an all black Adidas outfit with the black beanie.
Yeah.
And the first thing you did is like you went straight to crickets and you just kept going and going and going and going. And I don't remember our conversation, but I just remember like you and Gabe walked in.
Yeah.
And like I just remember after that, Grover's Hall, and that's when you came in, and I think you had like a little white kid with you could do power.
Yeah, Tommy, little tiny guy.
Yeah,
like
Tommy. Yeah, so I remember you walked
dope.
in. It was you, and I think it was you and him.
And Alan Ritchie.
Okay.
Alan was one of the breakers that I had with
and we was in the back, and we had our circle. Kenny was in the back laughing because he was like, every time you would do your combos.
Yeah.
That's my introduction to Super Day.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, do you remember our first, or what was my first impression on you, like when you first see me?
When I first saw you, it was you always had the camera. You were always recording.
Yeah.
I didn't know you danced at first.
Like right now.
Yeah. I didn't know you danced at first. And, we would talk, and you were like, yeah, I break. And I never seen you break, but I would always see you with the camera because you would be recording because you wanted to, you loved to make sure you documented everything.
Yeah.
And that's how I remember you. And then when I seen you break, I was like, oh, damn, he knows how to break. He's dope.
Okay.
So that's how most of the times that I seen you, you were always filming.
Yeah.
And then finally, I think you got hype at one moment at Grover's Hall because I don't think in Merced you danced. When you went to Grover's Hall, you finally put the camera down and you were dancing.
Yeah.
And then we were dancing with Gerald, and we were dancing with, no, was it Gerald? It was Gerald, IMAX and them, and his little crew of people that he hung out with.
Yeah.
You started breaking. I was like, oh, damn. And that's how eventually we started talking and communicating more because mainly I always remember you just walking around with your camera, documenting everything.
I was trying to film everything, but I was trying to just film the girls.
Yeah.
I was amazed by Patterson girls, Lodi, Gold. I was like, yo, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
But I most of the time, I didn't film myself though. I don't know why. I think I just wanted to be in the moment because I couldn't believe that breaking was coming back.
Yeah.
Because it made a comeback.
Yeah.
I started breaking again in 91. I seen Easy Rock in 92. I seen you guys 93, 94. Yeah. So when I seen you guys, of course you guys are younger than me, I couldn't even believe that breaking was back. Yeah. So I was smart enough. I bought a camera at I think it was Best Buy.
Yeah.
But I was gonna get a camera like this, a regular camera, but someone said get the one with the light.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna get the one with the light.
And I remember you spotlighted us everywhere.
Exactly. So honestly, if I didn't have that light, a lot of your early footage, I got you at the
Grover's Hall.
At Grover's Hall, you did the crazy combo with the.
I had the silverish gray shirt on with the teal sweat warm ups with the orange.
That was one of them, but you had another shirt. I think it said Super Dave was an airbrush.
It was Vicious Skills. It was
Vicious Skills,
and it said my name,
Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always liked it where it had the circle here with the name and then the crew name in the back.
Right.
Because that was the thing, and it was airbrushed. And I at the mall. Funny, the mall here at Stockton.
Yeah, exactly. And I knew in advance something said get a light because I kind of had a vision that I wanted it to be relevant now. That's the reason why I said get a light. Yeah. Because the camera that I was gonna get, it was cheaper. It was like $3 something, and then the one with the light was $5 something. And something said $3 something, $5 something. I said, give me the one with $5 something. Yeah. That changed everything because all the parties we went to in Turlock, boom, like the light was on.
Yeah. It was dope too.
Yeah.
Because you got us dancing and everything. And we would always used to, when we get up and then we'd walk and we're like, because your light was so bright. And we were like, whoa.
Yeah, bro.
I remember because nobody else had really. No. They didn't have the camera with the lights. They were all just regular lights or regular cameras. And that's the thing, I think, how you and Donnie started communicating and linking up because you guys were always filming a lot of stuff and you guys were always talking about the digital era.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The digital era.
Yeah, I remember that where it was going to be, you guys, your cameras, and that's what I think Donnie went and got a really actually good camera because you and him were talking about cameras and
exactly
what to get, and I remember that. So when he started, filming us and everything, he's got a lot of footage of us as well.
Oh, I know.
He's got a lot of footage of us, and there's a lot of dancers who have a lot of footage of me breaking.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is or not even just breakers. There's actually just people that would just film. There was a couple people that always filmed me in Arizona.
Okay.
And would just film everything the Floor Assassins did, and when I would perform with them or dance with them or practice with them, those people were always there filming us. But I've never seen that footage ever. I haven't even seen it, and I know it's out there because some of the people that I still talk to from over there say they have it,
right,
or they've seen it, and it's dope,
right.
So there's a lot of footage that people haven't seen of me because when I was in Arizona, I was doing some major combos,
right,
some major things. I was I was on a mission
Right.
to do some. I always wanted to improve myself when I was dancing.
So I'm gonna share this first time sharing this with you.
Sure.
I'll tell you the backstory behind this because this is gonna be a story after I tell you this. So I'm in Fresno, right?
Yeah.
I'm practicing, footwork, this and that. I see Marcio, I see Eric, and I see Pablo.
Yeah.
Pablo's in the corner, on his hands, like he was gonna do a cartwheel, and I'm like, okay, I'm just kind of looking over. He does the twist.
Yeah.
He does the first one, woo, and then he landed, and everybody was like, whoa, oh, everybody got all crazy, and then it was like they was pushing him, go see if you can do two, and he did 1.5. That moment right there, for me seeing, I didn't know the evolution of it, but that evolved into everybody else.
When did you see?
96.
96.
In Fresno.
I seen in footage. So there's footage of Jazzy J back in 90. I think it's 93 and 94 when they were doing a lot of events in San Jose.
Mm-hmm.
When they used to break in their socks.
Yes.
And he did an actual air flare, and that was the first one I ever seen.
That was the first one you seen.
I seen myself.
Okay.
And then Ivan started doing them, but Ivan.
Isn't that different?
His are kind of like at an angle.
Yes.
Like the way I used to try to do it.
Because you call them star tracks.
Yeah. But that was the original air flare.
Okay.
Yeah, because you do a windmill and then you it kind of looked like a flare, but you were sideways, kind of like a flare, just with your legs higher. So that was it, because you got to remember, everybody was doing or trying to do the flares and jumping them.
Yeah.
And trying to make them look crazy, and that's how that became what it was. But we seen, myself and Ariston and everybody, the first time we seen, because we had videos that we would get from the floor rockers and stuff like that showed Jazzy J doing one of those back in the early, like 92, 93. I think it was 93 he did it.
It had to be 93.
Yeah, he did it. And then we seen after a while, because Ivan never had those. He was mainly flips, windmills, halos.
90s.
And some 90s, and that was his thing.
Yeah.
He wasn't really doing nothing like that. It's when he went to UK is when we first seen him actually doing. We were like, oh, damn. We never knew that he knew how to, or he had those in his arsenal.
Yeah.
So when he did them, when we were in United, in the UK, we tripped out like, oh, dang. We didn't know he had that as part of his arsenal.
Okay.
So that was a new thing we've ever seen him do back then. So that was like the early 2000s when he went with us to UK.
98? It was UK 98 championship. UK.
I think it was 99. It was right after, it was after Battle of the Year.
Yeah, you're right, 99.
I think it was 99 or 2000. One of those.
It was 99.
Yeah, they flew us out to come rep. And he came with us, and that was the first time we've ever seen him do it. But the person that I ever seen actually first do it was Jazzy J. That in my eyes. And he landed it clean. And I was like, oh, damn.
Air flare?
Yeah. Clean air flare.
What's the difference between air flare and air track?
So air flare to me is more of a lower, and your body's more at an angle, like this, like kind of like this. The air track is up here, and you're kind of just jumping on your hands from side to side and turning. The air flare is more you're in a major angle where you could crash and burn, which is a big difference.
Yeah,
huge difference, and it's a lot harder. That's why there's not a lot of people who do it.
Right. Do you know what tracks are?
Yeah, of course.
What are tracks to you?
You're talking about the same thing, the air tracks, but just going with hand to hand, right?
Yeah. I spoke to the dude Alex from New York City Breakers.
Yeah.
He was actually the first dude to do it. They're actually halos, but they call them tracks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
I spoke to him when I was in New York.
That's dope.
Yeah, and he told me how he came up with the UFO though too.
Oh.
Yeah, little Alex.
I used to love doing UFOs.
Yeah.
When legs closed, open, right. I used to try them all the way.
So the story, he said when he seen Handyman do it, you know, in the movie Breaking.
Yeah.
He wanted to do something. He got an idea to put the hands in the middle.
Oh, wow.
So, and then his brother was like, bro, that looked like a UFO.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to love doing those. And then I obviously seen, that was a thing that everybody did back in the days.
Oh,
it was
UFOs.
It was a signature move. Everybody had it in their arsenal. And that was the thing, is you don't see those anymore.
I know, or Yodas.
Yeah, you don't see them anymore.
Yodas.
It's very rare that you see any b-boys doing it. And, there's a couple that I know that I've seen do it, but it's very rare. A lot of them like to do it with the straight legs.
Yeah. And I know people really don't do swipes today.
No. It's very, very rare. There's a couple people. The guy that is dances with Zeku does them.
Nails. He does them.
He does them dope. I love the way he does it.
You've seen his double swipes?
Yeah. He reminds me of the way Crazy Legs did them.
B Street.
With a combination of Easy Rock.
Oh.
Because he does them different. Sometimes he'll, the double legs remind me of Crazy Legs.
Of course.
The ones where he's doing them, where he's holding one knee on the other, reminds me of the way Easy Rock
that's
used to
Easy
do
Rock, bro. That is Easy Rock.
That's an Easy Rock thing. So that's who that reminds me of.
Yeah.
So I know he has both those flavors. It reminds me of a Crazy Legs and an Easy Rock.
He watches a lot of old footage.
Yeah. He's got old school mindset.
That's Miami.
Yeah. But he's dope. I love his swipes. I see him he makes sure he does them a lot of the times when he's doing anything he does.
Yeah.
And then I seen Zeku do them a lot of times as well, in a couple of jams that he's doing.
Right.
I know that that's part of their arsenal in their crew.
Yeah. That is true. So when the air flare or the air track came out, like what stopped you, or how come you didn't get that move down?
I did it only one time, and when I did it out of a windmill.
Okay.
I came out of a windmill, and I did it kind of like Ivan did it.
Yeah.
I did it like that, went back to windmill. But every other time I tried to do it, I'd always crash because I never tried to do it actually the way everybody does it now, where you're almost like standing.
Exactly.
You're standing straight up, or you're almost in a car, high, straight up.
Yeah.
I never did it like that, or never even tried it like that.
Okay.
I always try to do it the very difficult way.
Oh, all right.
That was the way I tried to do it because I always liked doing stuff that was crazy.
Yeah.
And dangerous.
Yeah.
I like doing those type of moves because it put a signature. Like I would do the flare when I would do the flare holding my nuts or whipping down where I'd come straight into a windmill and flying in the air. I wanted to be dangerous.
Yeah, I remember you doing like a flare like to windmill, but you would do the drop, bro. You would drop.
Yeah.
And go right into the nutcrackers.
Yeah.
To me, that was insane, though.
Yeah. That was something I loved doing because it was dangerous, and I wanted to fly. And that was the thing is I couldn't do the whole, air track thing. So that was my thing is I'm just gonna fly into something and make it smooth because I was always crashing and burning when it came to the air track. Because I only did it one time, and then after that I couldn't do it no more.
Right.
It was just I just couldn't.
Right. You know, Dave, I can share something with you. In the 90s, I would say about 75% of the time that I was breaking around you guys, I was hurt.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I used to do like little small injuries, just trying little stuff like on my fingers or twisting my ankle a certain way or knee would kind of like just blow out.
Yeah.
Was there ever a time in your career where you got like a real major injury?
Oh, yeah. I was injured all the time.
You was injured all the time?
Yeah, I used to have waters in my knee. I used to get water in my knees all the time.
Because you didn't wear knee pads?
Yeah, I didn't wear knee pads. I used to kink my neck all the time. I used to hurt my shoulders because, I'd be doing dangerous stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
Used to hurt my wrists because of, the power that I was doing and the stuff that I was doing. I was trying dangerous stuff. Because there was times where I was doing, because a lot of things that I seen Jazzy do, I wanted to make sure I had that in my arsenal. So if he pulled it out, I have it as well. Just in case he pulls certain things out.
Yeah.
Because I knew the way he danced, because, that was my rival back then. So I always would try all the, things that I'd see him do. I'd try to make sure I had it to be able to, if he did it, oh yeah, I can do that too. So this way because that's kind of the big thing right now that I see is, dancers do certain things, and then if somebody has it similar, it's a bite or whatever, they didn't consider it back then like that unless you were doing something exactly or you try to do it before them. I would try to do, if somebody had something, I would try to do it, but try to do it a little bit doper. So this way they know, hey, he's got that same thing, but I just would never do it all the time. So like I wouldn't go running around doing other people's moves, but if I battled them, I would pull it out on them. So they know, oh, damn, he has same stuff I do. I would never go around going and biting other people's moves and try to do their moves and stuff like that. That was, to me, a sign of disrespect or whatever. And, you go to battle them, and then now you do it again. They're like, oh, you're a biter. So I would never do something like that, which I know a lot of people do, and it is what it is. But I always had it in my brain is I'm never going to do it, but I know I can do it, and I practice it, and I have it ready. So if I do ever battle that person, I can do it on them.
Yeah.
If they try to do it on me. Because there's a lot of crowd pleaser things that people do.
Yeah.
So some of the dancers do it. Like they'll go do somebody's move while they're doing it. Which, that it is what it is. But I tried to make sure I did only my stuff and had my own little things that I did as far as when I went out.
Right.
So people knew it was my move.
Right. So getting on the topics, biters.
Yeah.
Okay. To me personally, the way I feel about it, like when you doing somebody's move and it looks identical to them.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, like today, oh, I'm paying homage to them.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that? They say you're keeping somebody else's move alive and you're paying homage to them.
Which is okay with me. If people are giving credit to where it's due.
What about if they're not giving credit, but they're still doing the person's move?
But that's different. Yeah, see, so it's different. It's kind of a respect thing. People know that you're like, if you're not making it out there where you're saying, hey, I'm doing, this is where I learned from, or these are my inspirations, and you're not out there saying that, and then you're just acting like you're the guy who made it up, it's a disrespect.
Okay.
Because that's the thing is I'm not the one that made up the Thomas Flair, but I respect that he made it and did it, and I don't act like I did, I just made it up myself and it was my move. Or, Windmill 90s, I didn't make that move, what I mean? Mm-hmm. Nothing I did, I made up. There's only little certain things that I added my flavor to.
Right.
Like I'm the only, I would do the flare, pull off my hat, do a windmill, and then start doing one-handed crickets straight from that with the hat in my hand holding it.
Yeah,
that's my thing. That I would just create my own little moves and stuff and make it mine. So I know that's my thing that I would do. But that's the thing is somebody's not giving credit where it's due, and they're just going out and biting everybody's moves and then acting like they're the ones who made it up, knowing they didn't. That's disrespectful. But if people are, because you're always going to get some people that are filtering the same stuff and just putting their own tweaks on it. Mm-hmm. But if they don't say it, to me that's disrespectful. You should at least pay homage or give shout outs or say your inspirations anywhere.
Right.
Because there's enough social media for you to allow people to do that. And if they're not doing that, that just puts a bad taste in everybody's mouth. In my opinion, it's if you do it right, people will respect you and say, yeah, he's, you could see who he learned from. And yeah, he even talked about it and said that that's who his inspirations are. But if you're just saying you're not, it's not cool. To me, that's how I feel about it.
Right.
And I see a lot of dancers who do similar things and who they get their, their moves from and stuff like that. And, if they have, learned it from that person, they at least show the respect. Not be rude or if somebody's calling you a biter and then you're, pissed off or whatever, there's no reason for you to be pissed off if you've learned from somebody else and you're doing similar things from them.
Right.
And they're calling you a biter, you just don't engage with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it only makes it worse for yourself.
Right.
That's my opinion.
I hear some people saying on the internet, like, I guess the power moves that you do, they consider that, they would call it ground power.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you? I've never heard that term, ground power.
I've never heard of it as well. Well, I guess
not everybody's in the air and everything else is more low.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's why they would call it that. I've never heard that.
Yeah.
I've never heard that saying either, but I would assume it's because a lot of the dancers now, a lot of their way of going into stuff is an air track or starting with an air flare or whatever it is, an air track, whatever you guys want to call it. I know that a lot of the dancers are going in and leading with that move. So I'm assuming that's why the flare was considered your lower windmill, 90s.
UFO, Yoda.
Yeah, that's all ground. It's lower to the ground. So I'm assuming that's why, because a lot of the new dancers and the new stuff that they're doing is everything is up in the air, up higher, not really low.
Right.
So I'm assuming that's why, but I've never heard that term ever. I just heard power and, power moves or you don't.
Right.
I've never heard it a different, name for it.
So when you were breaking, when you first started into the time that you stopped, how many years did you break altogether? So
from 92 all the way till, I think it was 2014 is when I stopped.
Okay.
2015 is when I stopped breaking. Because I was dancing in Arizona. I was still doing events and doing shows over there. I was doing my own thing over there. And so, I'd still go dance. Like, when I came back to actually Stockton, back in 2014, 15, I was out here dancing,
going
to clubs and breaking.
Okay.
Yeah, and people would trip out, like, oh crap, because nobody knew me as a dancer. Nobody really, because I wasn't running around here no more. I was all the way in Arizona, and when I separated from my wife at that time, I came back down here, and I was, still dancing. So I was breaking out here, and people were tripping. Oh. All the people that I hung out with and were dancing, going into clubs, all those people that I would go to clubs with were not breakers. They're just normal, normal people going to the clubs and just chilling. So when they would see that I would break, they're like, whoa. Like I broke at a lot of clubs, the Palladium and stuff like that out in Modesto and clubs in Lodi and Stockton. I would be breaking at the clubs over here.
There was a club off of Briggsmore. I used to go there too.
Yeah, it's Palladium. Old school. Yeah, I would break there all the time. People would trip out because they didn't know I was a breaker. It was a trip. Yeah. And then I started transitioning out of it in 2015.
Do you remember a club in Modesto called Frankie's?
Yeah, I remember Frankie's. Yeah. Yeah, I remember all that stuff. But one of the things I had issues with is my shoulders started like they pop a lot. So and I didn't want to continue hurting myself because I was getting older and I didn't want to. Power's a little bit different. It's a lot of wear and tear on the bones. On the body. So I didn't want to be where I can't move or I need surgery or anything like that. So I chose to just you know what I mean. I didn't want to do that. Luckily, I didn't have to do no surgeries or anything like that. But I had water in the knees. I had big old ball on my elbows from hitting my elbows, shoulders scratched up.
You never had the That's one good. I'm proud of you, bro. You never burnt your hair out on the top. 99.9% of the dudes you can tell that are b-boys, they always have that.
Burn their hair.
That camel.
Well, I had the helmet back in the days, and I used to wear a beanie on top of it because that was my big thing. Because I didn't want to go bald or my hair to fall out.
Though, right?
Yeah. But I didn't want none of that to happen to me. So I kind of try to take care of my hair, and I tried to stay off my head as much as I could when I was doing a lot of the stuff. I didn't want to continue doing the head spins. Because one of the things was back in Arizona, I was trying not to do any head spins no more because helmet phase was phased out already. And that's what kind of helped my hair not burn. So everything was beanie. So I could do the head spins with the beanie and everything, but I didn't want to do it because I seen everybody's hair falling out and having issues with their hair when they were doing it with the beanie. So I was like, nah, I'm good.
I think you were smart on that one, bro. Because
I didn't want to do it.
A lot of the guys now I see that are older,
the bald.
You could tell. You could tell they just, even the younger guys, they spin all that.
Yeah, they burned all the hair off.
They burned off the follicles.
I know.
They have all this, but you can tell the top is really thin.
Little areas where they actually were spinning on their head.
But it's kind of embarrassing when you around family and photo time.
It is what it is. But I knew what it was happening and the transition from the helmet to the beanie. So I just try to stay off my head as much as I could, spinning on my head with the beanie because I knew it would burn my hair. I felt it. My hair would be hot. I was like, oh, I'm good. I guess it's going to burn my hair. It's going to rip my hair out and I'm going to be bald.
I don't know if you remember in the 90s, did you ever used to see me with knee pads a lot?
Yeah, all the time.
I knew. I knew because sometimes when I would do it off the bat, I would get that little that jiggle. You
feel it, you feel like mine do the same thing. They jiggle and stuff like that. It's water in the knees. I used to get it all the time. Arista members, I would have to stop practicing for a full week or two because I had so much water in my knees from hitting my knees. Yeah. Because we were breaking. You got to remember when we were breaking in Donnie's garage, which is Crumbs. It was cement, but with a linoleum on it. Oh, he had a piece of linoleum on it, but he had nothing under it, no padding, nothing. It was just the linoleum to allow us to be smooth. And you remember the garages, they had the little crack. Oh, yeah. So the little cracks in between, the crevices, so he would make sure, we try to make it flush. Yeah. Where there was no cracks. So when we were breaking, it was all smooth. Yeah. But it was still hard. It was hard as a rock, bro. And so when we would hit, it would hurt. Right. I remember I had to go to the doctors a couple times because my knees were shot from the water. Oh shoot! Okay. They told me that I need a rest and stay off my my legs. Mm-hmm. And so there'd be a couple weeks. Sometimes I'd be out from dancing, and it would piss me off. But I just have to sit there and chill.
Just heal up.
Yeah, heal up, and that was a lot of things I had to do. but yeah, we would, we were always at Donnie's, or we were, somewhere at a jam, and we did a lot of things I wish that people actually got to see and got to that were filmed or documented, because we went to a lot of raves and we battled a lot of ravers and house dancers back in the days when we would go to the big raves. Yeah, we would battle everybody at the raves.
That's what I would tell everybody. Yeah. We should have brought that in an earlier interview. But when I first seen breaking, it was at the raves.
Yeah.
It was literally at the raves.
Yeah, because you had your dancer, and that was the thing is a lot of the style that you see, like Ariston, and we all know how to do the house dancing because we had to have that.
Yeah.
Because we would go against housers and ravers and stuff like that, so we had to learn how to do. Because that was our thing, is we want to make sure, hey, we're not just breakers, we're dancers, and that's where the
right.
different styles of different styles of dancing style
right.
elements. So we would make sure we had all kinds of different arts of dancing
right.
in our arsenal. So when we came against house dancers or ravers, we wouldn't look like, oh, you guys can't dance like them. All you can do is just spin on your, on your back, or you do footwork or whatever. That's all you guys can do. No, we would dance.
Yeah.
We'd be raving and house dancing against dancers.
And like during that time, I remember I didn't really hear the name Crew until I heard the Rocksteady Crew. So prior, when breaking was making a comeback, everything was Tribe, Lunacy Tribe, Jughead Tribe, Bam Tribe, Happy Tribe.
Yeah.
You remember that era?
Yeah, absolutely.
At the raves, yeah. They'd be like, yo, here's Happy Tribe.
Yeah, I remember that. And that was the thing, is we were actually thinking of being Style Elements Tribe, but it didn't sound... it's funny because it didn't sound right.
Oh.
So remember, one of our big things is we wanted to make sure everything rolled off the tongue properly. So when we would come up with like our video, how it sounded funny, but you see how when you say the names, like the cockapoo, porcupine, pubic hairs, it all rhymes. We wanted to make sure everything came off your tongue correctly.
Right.
And there was no like, oh, that's whack, because it's doesn't rhyme with it.
Yeah.
So everything that we did, we wanted to make sure everything flowed smooth.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that's awesome. Got two more questions for you. First one is there anything that you had on your mind, like maybe you just have bottled up inside that you want to share, or feelings or thoughts, how you feel about the scene today?
No, the scene itself is dope. I love the breakers now, how they're dancing, how they're doing a lot of stuff, and they're transitioning to their things, and the way they're flying around is just crazy to me.
Right.
But that's the thing is I want, my big thing is I only hope for, because I watch a lot of videos online and stuff like that, and see the events and stuff like that. And one thing is you don't ever see now is the crowd. You don't see anybody, what's going on. You just see the dancers. You don't see what's going on with, hey, how the crowd is reacting, and you don't see nothing going on with that. Or even when the battle's done, you don't see the crowd and get a crowd reaction and, try to involve.
Yeah.
Which is a big thing for me. Back in the days, we used to always have the crowds involved. And that were not breakers or not dancers. They would be part of our, when you were filming, you would film everything that was going on. Even the people that were, you'd film us breaking, and the next thing you know, you'd look up and look at the crowd and see how they were reacting.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You never see that anymore. And that's the thing that should be part of it, because it's important.
Yeah.
Important to see how people's reactions, how they're reacting to stuff like that aren't dancers. Because a lot of times, a lot of those people that are even watching, it ended up motivating them, like it did me as a spectator, to want to do it. So somebody could see themselves. Yeah, I remember when I was in, watching them battle, and look at me, I'm right there. Look at,
I used to look for that. Like, that's me with the gray hat.
Yeah, and that's the thing you don't see anymore. You don't see the, the crowd and stuff like that. That you bring that aura back of, hey, the appreciation of the people that are there that are not just dancers. And the dancers now, I see them a lot of the times, a lot of arguing going back and forth that shouldn't be happening while you're dancing.
Too much talking, though.
Yeah, I don't. That's something that I see a lot online, that I notice, that people arguing with each other. Or,
a lot of bad attitudes. A lot of like counting. That's one thing too. When somebody does move, why is somebody always counting like how many times you do it? Because every time you come out, you're doing the same wind up.
Yeah.
So that means that's the second time. Yeah. That's the third time. but I see people count on their hands, like they just keep counting on their hands. That's so annoying.
I think it's a thing it's kind of like how we used to say it back in the days. It's like a fad. Like everybody's doing because people are seeing other people do it, so they're mimicking it. So there's a lot of things that I do see in the breaking community that there's a lot of mimicking. People are doing similar things that other people are doing that are in the, that are higher up, considered, veterans of the dancing game that are doing it. And so they see that. But you see other people that don't do that are OG breakers. But people are starting to get that where they're trying to, I think it's a thing where it became, if I noticed it correctly, where people started doing the hand, you're doing it this many times, because they wanted the judges to know that person's going out again and doing similar move again. Even though he may not be doing the similar move, or he may be doing something kind of similar, but still not the same move, they want to try to sway the judges towards them, like if they're doing the same thing over and over, so don't vote for them. That's what I think it's from. But what you shouldn't be doing, you should just be going out there and doing your thing, and if the judges vote against you, they vote against you. If they don't, they don't. It is what it is, and just keep it moving.
Right.
It should be that way.
To me, if I'm judging, I see somebody, it just lets me know that you can count.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, I understand. That has no influence on me to decide, because the thing is, like, if you're looking at me, you should be worrying about how to top him. Breakers always topped each other.
Yeah.
That was the thing. That's how you win the judges. Don't do the same combo as him.
Yeah.
Don't mimic him on the floor.
Do your thing.
Top him.
Yeah.
If he did Flair 1990 Air Track head spin, Flair 1990 Air Track 2000 back, and do another combo.
Yeah.
Go the reverse way. Now you're going to get the win. So if you're looking over here and saying 1, 2, 3, to me, that's poor sportsmanship, though. And I look for that, though, too.
Yeah.
As being a veteran breaker.
Yeah.
Poor sportsmanship, though. Like, dancers, breakers, you remember all the time when you have a smile on your face and the dude's talking trash, like every time you went out, when you smiled, that's showing the other dancers, it doesn't matter what you say, I'm still going to blow you up with a smile.
Yeah.
That's breaking. That's really breaking. All this bad attitude, like leaving, like slapping the floor, is to me,
Well,
it's childish.
My opinion of that as well is there's a lot of bad blood between breakers. And
they're all friends, bro.
No. What I'm saying is when it comes to being on the floor, they know, like, when I say bad blood, as far as bad blood, I mean is they know how they are, and they know their true self because they hang out with each other. So they know how they are in reality, and they know how they are when it comes to them breaking with each other. So they try to do things to annoy the other breaker.
Yeah.
To try to get under their skin, which they shouldn't be doing, which then ends up sometimes being a bad blood thing.
Yeah.
Where they end up not liking each other no more, or they start talking crap to each other.
Yeah.
I see a lot of that happening in a lot of the videos I watch. I see it all the time.
They're always talking.
They're always they're always fighting with each other, which is crazy to me. And it is what it is. I just went, and myself, Ariston and everybody else can speak for themselves. But when I went out to go dance, I wanted to make sure I don't give a shit what they got going on. I don't care what their facial expressions or any little things they're trying to do to me. I'm going out there and I'm going to go try to make you know who I am and try to destroy you when I go out there, and that's that. And I'm going to go back and chill and do my thing and mind my business.
Right.
And that's how I danced.
Right.
But one thing that I did do, which was I did do that a couple times when I would battle the Renegades. I would try to mimic or copy Jazzy J while he was out there, because he had a certain way of up-rocking.
Yeah.
That I would, we would try to get under his skin, because we know he was a dope breaker.
Yeah.
We know he was so good at power. So we were trying to do anything we could to try to get under his skin. That's why I know what these breakers do. They're trying to do that stuff to get under the other breaker's skin, to get them off their game.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I see that they're doing, but it just looks bad when they're doing that. And I know that when we were doing that, that's why when it became to when we started battling at other events, I stopped doing it, because I know it looked bad because I seen it on tape.
Right.
It made me look funny because I'm trying to, be goofy.
Right.
But it doesn't look good. It's not it's not a good look.
Right.
And so I stopped doing that, and Ariston was doing it as well. We were both, it was me and him, because we were knuckleheads. We would always try to get under the dancer skins.
Right.
Because we would, we knew how they danced.
Okay.
So I understand it from a standpoint of them doing it, but it does look bad when they're consistently doing it all the time.
Right.
It does look very bad.
Okay. So the final question.
Sure.
I heard Crumb say this in an interview maybe about 10 years ago. I'll show it to you on the phone. He said, to him, the term B-boy stands for broke boys. Financially broke boys. Like people are broke.
No.
Okay. Reason why I'm saying that, I want you to explain, because like you have a business.
Yeah.
You stepped away from breaking. I feel like in interviews, people really don't talk about the importance of being financially stable.
Yeah.
And I want you to share that, because you traveling the world, doing breaking everywhere, and like you had to step away and like get financially stable.
Yeah.
B-boys don't really think in advance about like that. It's just in the moment.
Yeah, yeah.
And I want you, if you can give advice to the breakers today, like basically how to put being financially stable as a priority, because you are going to get hurt.
Absolutely, you're going to get hurt. So you got to me, it's, I think he said that because it's like a majority, not saying all dancers or breakers were like that. A lot of them were broke and had no money.
There's really no money in breaking, to be honest with you.
There is
competition.
Yeah. But there is it's starting to be changing where there is.
But not like skateboarding and everything else, bro. Everything else is killing it, though. The DJ make more money.
Yeah,
the graffiti writers, when they do murals, they do production, they get more money, though.
And the reason why I think it's because of that way is because it's a little bit different for breaking compared to the other things that you're talking about. A DJ can spin, and then the next day he can spin again. Mm-hmm. And a skater can skate the next day. A breaker, when he breaks, he can. If he's younger, he can break the next day, but he's already exhausted. Mm-hmm. And there's a difference between a breaker and a skateboarder and a DJ and a graffiti artist and those other things, that elements of dancing or any other sport. You can go out there and do it again. Yeah, you're going to be a little bit stiff, tired, or whatever, but you can still do it. A dancer sometimes can't even go out the next day, or he needs a couple days to recuperate. That's why you can't have the jams every day, the jams every weekend, or anything like that. Some of those breakers can't even do the every weekend thing. So it's a very different ballgame.
Actually, a lot of them do, because they're younger.
Yeah, well, the younger ones. I'm saying the older crowd, they can't.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. Like a Tony Hawk, he can go out right now and go skate, and the next day go skate again. An older breaker like myself, or if I wanted to start breaking in, I can't go today and break, and tomorrow I'll break again like it's a normal day. That's the difference between the different things that you're comparing to. It's a very, very wide gap. So dancing, it's not to the people in society. It's something you see and it's dope, but it's not something you're going to see that same person come out the next day and do it again and repetitive, and they can consistently make money all the time, because it's a lot of wear and tear. Sometimes you can't. Mm-hmm. Some people can. If you're younger, you can do that. Mm-hmm. Like when I was breaking, when I was 16, 17, 18, 19 years old, I could do that. I could break every day. Yeah. When you get older, you can't. You know that, and I know that, and every breaker that's older knows that. But that's the thing is how many knuckleheads do you know that are 16, 17, 18 years old are thinking financially? None. And that's the difference, is you don't have that business mindset. You're just going with the girls, you're going to party, you're going to have a great time, you're dancing, you're enjoying life. You're not thinking about the money when you're younger. Unless you have somebody like your mom or dad that was breakers. Yeah. That know, hey, now we're going to put you in this to where you're making money and stuff like the Maya Boys and stuff like that. Yeah. They had a dancer family and that are showing them the right way to do stuff. Mm-hmm. And to help them, guide them. But that's very rare. A lot of the dancers, none of the dancers have that. And a lot of the dancers, majority of the time, are coming from poverty, or, they don't have anything. So dancing's a way to get that out of your mind. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm assuming he means, because a lot of the dancers always were broke. Mm-hmm. They didn't have anything. Mm-hmm. They couldn't afford to eat afterwards, or, hey, could you help me out? I have no way of getting home. Can you help me? It's just, that's the way it is. I'm assuming where Donnie means that everybody he dealt with was broke. Yeah. Difference between me and Donnie, Donnie and I, and compared to everybody else, is luckily I had my license. I had, my family had money. So I was able to do a lot of stuff that not your normal. And there's some people that are like that. Donnie was the same way. He had that opportunity. He had a vehicle. He was able to travel. His mom and his grandma and
Yeah.
you know, they were able to give him the money if he needed it to go places, which me and him, luckily in the crew, were able to do that.